Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. What 9 minutes is left of it? Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit. They did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, folks, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever does decide to see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1: when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to utilize the headphones. Trigger warning 2: this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and we do speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is advised, all right? Warning: allergies are beating my ass silly, all right? So if you hear sneezes, weird sounds coming from my throat, or it's sounding like I'm hacking up half a lung, my apologies in advance for that, all right? Okay, cool. Back to where we were. Now we're going to get the response. While the FDA did not directly observe residents in JRC's facility, it did not need to do so to obtain relevant information for this rulemaking. So, I'm guessing one of the things that the JRC tried to put forward was that the FDA didn't come forward to the facility to take their guided tour. Jesus Christ, the hubris on these people. Who the hell does the JRC think they are that they can dictate to the goddamn FDA how they get information in regards to their rulemaking? Even further, why would they need to do so when surveillance footage exists? These people never cease to amaze me. Such observations are not necessary for the FDA to understand JRC's use of ESDs, or more importantly, the risks and benefits of ESDs for SIB or AB. That's because they have receipts. You can understand the risks or so called non existent benefits of ESDs by examining the medical information and documentation that was provided. And we're talking, they had to sift through an ungodly amount of scientific data, as well as medical documentation, as well as case studies, both in regards to neurodivergence as well as people with mental health issues. The list is literally endless. There is a reason why those hearings went on for so damn long. Okay? Also, they had access to the surveillance tapes. So to sit there and try to dictate that the FDA didn't have the right to make the decision that they did because they did not take the guided tour. They got balls, I'll give them that. you can get a good understanding in regards to risks and benefits by just the medical documentation alone, folks. It's a no-brainer here. The fact that they relied on expert testimony from psychiatrists, psychologists, and neurologists. The documentation, medical documentation of kids' doctors from the time when they were residents at that hellscape of a school. Access to that, as well as survivor stories, as well as surveillance tape. And these people have the balls to say, but you don't know what's going on because you didn't take the guided tour. Wow. Such observations would not be part of a trial or study, nor would they proceed according to experimental controls that could allow observers or analysts to draw generalizable conclusions. Any observation may or may not be typical, whether by chance or, for example, because a tour at the JRC's invitation would be controlled, or the areas of individuals available for observation would not be representative. In other words, taking the guided tour and seeing only what the JRC wants you to see. Geez, you know what I'm saying? The reason why that would have been no benefit to the FDA is because they would only be seeing what the JRC wants them to see. That gets us nowhere when we're trying to make an objective decision in regards to the GED device. Okay? Literally nowhere. If your ass is the one that's getting put to the fire, if your entire system is what's up for debate, it makes no logical, coherent sense for them to take a guided tour where the JRC controls everything that they would see, because that gets to the bottom of literally nothing. Okay? Do you really think the JRC would give them access to the medical records from the students at that time? No, no, not at all. Do you think that the JRC would actually allow them to see them using the device when a student stood for more than 3 minutes? No, they're going to be on their best behavior. Hence why the unannounced visits went the way they did. We're not there to see you on your best behavior. We are there to see what you're really up to. Okay? It is the same logic. Elsewhere, this commenter criticizes the incorporations of anecdotal data and information. Information obtained by FDA on such a tour would likely be subject to the same criticism. Exactly. The JRC wants you to tote their information, but they're not allowed, but they will criticize any other forms. They don't think that the survivors' stories should have been taken into account in regards to this decision. There's one major problem with that. The fact that this is not AH spouting her nonsensical bullshit. These are survivors who are coming with receipts, which gives it infinitely more weight than if they were just bringing forward their stories alone. The few survivor stories that came forward without that documentation were so similar to those who did come in providing that documentation, it was automatically given more weight. The idea that this all could have been explained away if they just would have taken the guided tour is just absolute stupidity. Absolute, utter stupidity. You can't explain away ER documents. You can't explain away surveillance footage. You can't explain away the fact that the rest of the medical model does not utilize these insane adversive methods. Okay? No guided tour is going to, in any way, shape, form, or capacity, make those other things suddenly disappear as though by magic. All right? It's not how any of this works. To say that, but you allowed for those anecdotal stories from former residents in to help justify your decision. Of course they did. Because there were medical ER documents to back that shit up. That's how receipts work. Whereas a guided tour is nothing but raging propaganda. Okay? Major difference there. And as a matter of fact, had they gone on the guided tour and just listened to the parents' stories, there's no medical documentation to back up the parents' stories, but sure, Karen, just believe the Kool-Aid drinking parents. Fantastic, right? We're going to go ahead and close out on this one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.